If you desire to settle down and you've been trying to work out relationships, but it always ends up in disappointment. Don't worry, starting today there would be a change, because as we discuss this, unhealthy deal breakers that block your opportunity to settle down with a person, God would give you the grace and discipline that you need to change them. One of the major unhealthy deal breakers that block your opportunity to settle with a person is being abusive. Being abusive, whether physical or emotionally, is all being abusive, and nobody wants to settle for that. You might be good in every other quality of being a perfect spouse to someone, but once they've seen this side of you, they will run away from the relationship. We all have the burden of life that we're already carrying, and so no one is ready to add your baggage with theirs. There's no reason whatsoever that justifies you to being abusive. At times, you hear partners that are physically abusive to their partners tell you he or she pushed you to the wall and you had no choice than to retaliate in that manner. My dear, that is not an excuse. There is always something you can do to direct your anger somewhere else than laying your hands on your partner. So why choose to go for this option? You might end up regretting your actions and buy gifts just to apologize. And maybe you mean it, but the deed has already been done. Your partner already knows that if you can do it once, there's a chance you would do it again. While emotional abuse comes from the words that you say to your partner, you make them feel bad about themselves to the point that they no longer know who they are anymore. There's just so much a person can take. They would eventually get fed up, and at some point they would leave you. Being abusive is something you can work on. Learn to control your anger, and always think about how the other person would feel before you say something. Don't end up being alone by blocking all the opportunities you have to settle down with a person. Secondly, another unhealthy deal breaker that'll block your opportunities to settle down with a person is when you're an extremely jealous person. I know jealousy is good to a certain extent because it shows your partner that you love them to a certain extent, and you're not willing to share them with anyone who tries to take them from you. This is good, but it becomes bad when it gets to the point where you no longer want to see them stand close to any other person except you. You constantly try to check their phone and see who they're talking to. You prevent them from having fun with any person if not you. At first, you might think that you're just being romantic and protective of what you have. But trust me, it would later get to the point where your partner begins to feel that you're choking them. You don't give them space to be their person. You try to isolate them from the life they're used to having. And these people that you're trying to separate them from have always been in their life, long before you came in. And so, it's not cool that you're trying to separate them and keep them just for yourself. Extreme jealousy comes from a lack of trust. And if there is no trust, there can't be a relationship. You need to be able to trust people. Trust that they'll always remain true to you because they love you. Trust them because you know they're capable of holding themselves from falling into temptation with other partners. You got this, and you can do it. Thirdly, an unhealthy deal breaker that'll block your opportunity to settle down with someone is when you're a bad communicator. For a good, healthy relationship where both partners end up satisfied, you must be willing to talk. Communicate what you're feeling and don't just assume that your partner is supposed to know. People are different, and not everyone is sensitive the way you are. It's possible they've offended you, but they're not aware. So if you do not speak to how you expect them to apologize, a matured person should be willing to say what he wants to say without giving attitudes and expect the other party to understand. Your partner would get fed up of trying to figure out what it is they did that is wrong. Also, communication is both ways. Are you the type that doesn't give other people the opportunity to communicate what they're feeling? Anytime he or she speaks, you just shut them up because you feel you're always right. You might truly believe this person, and maybe you are right, but you need to learn how to accept that you're wrong even when you're right. Give people the opportunity to say what they think, and later, you can always correct them in love. Give him or her the freedom to say it the way it is in their hearts. At least, you get to know what exactly is the problem. When you're a bad communicator, it's a major deal breaker that blocks the opportunity you have to settle down with a person. You can learn this, it's not difficult. Lastly, an unhealthy deal breaker that would block your opportunity to settle down with a person is when you talk about past relationships almost all the time. Being with someone new, but always bringing up things about your ex, shows that you're not completely over them, and chances that you would cheat with them when an opportunity presents itself still exist. Being in a relationship requires a lot of maturities and being able to handle your baggage all on your own before you start a new relationship. Be sure you've completely gotten over that person so that you don't make your partner feel as if they're not good enough for you. And that's why you're still so much interested in your ex. No one is responsible to help you fix your life together. You can do that yourself. We all have the baggage of the past relationships that we carry. But what makes us matured and ready for a new relationship is the ability to forget the past and move on. When you constantly bring your ex in the picture, it only proves you're not yet over them, and you're looking for a piece of them in your new partner, which is not possible because no two people are the same. Giving your partner a signal that you're not yet over your ex makes them think you might cheat, and this is a major turnoff in any relationship. If you want to stop blocking your opportunity to settle down with someone, you need to fix this. You can if you wish, although it's not easy but possible. Forget about your ex and begin to appreciate the person before you. Don't lose what you have now for something you don't even have. The bottom line is, deal breakers vary from one person to another, but these are the major ones that you can work on. It's time you fix yourself and stop unhealthy deal breakers from blocking your opportunity to settle down with a person. Nothing is permanent in our lives, and the only thing that remains constant is change. You can change this character of yours if you make up your mind. Make Philippians 4 verse 13 your verse, because it says, "We can do all things through Christ that strengthens us." Nothing is holding you back. The devil came too late to try and stop you from having a complete joy. When the work is done, you will see someone who will love you to the point of committing forever.